Everything in there?
Done. He's ready.
Justin's last day is the 28th. 28th or 29th. It's Friday.
Friday would be the 29th.
Batteries. Need to. Isn't it working?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call shows everyone present tonight. I think we have one addition to the agenda. I have a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Addition to the agenda, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes.
You just read the addition.
The addition is Rockfest approval. Open forum. Anybody wish to speak? When we get started here? Okay. Next item is consent agenda.
Hey, Jeff?
Go ahead, Rick.
I had two things I wanted to remove for discussion out of the consent agenda, and one was the 12-16 minutes and the approve the 2016 fees. And we may want to consider on the calendar, it's customary each election year to move up the council meeting in November by 1 week. So if we do that now, it wouldn't be a special meeting to change it later.
Okay.
Okay.
What's that date going to be then?
It would be the 9th, go from the 16th up to the 9th.
Okay.
And can you just say, Rick, why are we pulling the minutes of 12:16?
Yeah, I can just state it right now. If you don't want to discuss it after, we can do that now.
Okay.
What it was, in the minutes there, I had noticed that we have, let me get to them here. There is the tax levy on taxable property, and I was questioning if, Judy wasn't sure if that was the right spot or not, with the special assessments that we've been sending to Archon for their lot. I didn't see them on there, and I checked with, losing her name a minute.
Lori.
Gross?
Lori Gross
Lori Gross,
at the
yeah.
county today, and she said the special assessments have to be certified to them no later than November 30th of
Yep.
each year, and I'm not sure if we got those on there for Archon, because the last ones that were assessed were in 2015, and that was for 2013
2 years
connections. So we're 2 years behind.
Okay.
And I also did ask, are we only allowed to assess 1 year of what they're back? And she said, no, we can assess whatever they're behind. So if that hadn't been done, we need to catch up the 2 years that we're behind, because they already owe us over $515,000. We should
Yep.
get everything on there that they owe us.
Okay. So your issue is, do the minutes accurately reflect the amount that's?
I was just kind of questioning if that's where it should be or not. I don't
Okay.
know if
Okay.
that's where it's supposed to be. That's
Yep.
why I wanted to just discuss
Yep.
that afterwards. And the other thing on the fee schedule, the 2016 fees, also I had noticed in the fees that the SAC and WAC fees have not been changed since 2008. And I think we should probably check with the city engineer. I would suggest that we table the fee schedule so that the engineer could look at those and see if those are still appropriate for 2016, 8 years afterwards since the last change.
Yeah.
I think costs have went up a little bit, and we need to be on top of that. So when I reviewed 2006, 7, and 8, each year they went up by 5%, and they haven't been changed since. I'm not suggesting that they need to go up just because they haven't been changed. I just want to make sure that we're charging enough.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay,
So I would
So do
make
you
a
wanna make a
motion
motion, yeah,
to approve the consent agenda with the approval of the 2016 fee schedule to be tabled.
okay.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and second to approve the consent agenda with tabling of the 2016 fees schedule
And the calendar change?
and to make the calendar change to September 9th,
No,
2000
November.
or November 9th, 2016 for the November meeting. Dwayne?
Yeah, so in essence, what that would do in real world, if that passes, we would continue to stay on the fee, not just merely the sack and whack, but all fees at the 2015 current rate?
Yep, until we review them.
Right. Okay.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same. Motion passes. Board and staff report, please, John.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. This is a report for the month of December 2015. There were 37 contract hours in December, 16 citations issued, 3 for winter parking, 5 speeding, 2 no proof of insurance, 1 driver's license, provisional driver's license violation, 1 driving after revocation, 1 no valid Minnesota driver's license, and a disorderly conduct. There were 2 other combinations that were a combination of winter parking restrictions and expired registration. I am going to have to go back and check with the officer. I don't recall when it snowed in December. I just want to make sure that she's issuing the citations when she should be. And if she's not, then I'll clarify that and I'll take care of them that way. Call types for the month of December. I'm sorry, excuse me. There was also 1 juvenile citation for speeding. Call types for the month were 2 personal injury accidents. Both of those were at Highway 23 and County Road 140. 2 alcohol compliance checks conducted. One establishment was closed. The other one passed. A couple of animal complaints. The disorderly conduct that received the citation that was over at the water's edge. 2 domestics that were reported. 1 drunk driver arrest that was issued a citation. Gas leak was over at a location on Pleasant Road. A construction crew had hit a gas line. 3 medical emergencies, 3 thefts. The first theft was a gentleman who called in, had some friends over the night before, reported 2 shot glasses and a lighter stolen. The other one was theft of a water heater and some other items from a foreclosed residence that was foreclosed on. And the last one was the fish house, and I think everyone might have seen that in the paper. I think we did a news release on that one. The theft from vehicle was, I believe, over at, I'm not going to say because I can't remember where it was. But anyway, it was a handgun theft that was reported a week after the theft. And I don't believe we have a serial number on that, so it's going to be hard to find that one. There were 2 tobacco compliance checks. I believe both passed, although I have not received the final paperwork from the officer who does compliance checks. 67 traffic stops, 3 vehicles in the ditch, and 2 requests for welfare checks.
Okay. Any questions from the council? Okay, thanks, John.
Thank you.
Next item, Fire Department request for action. Request by Andrew. Andrew here, should I just read it?
Just read it.
I'll just read it. Request use of donated funds from City of Cold Spring for the amount of $500 to partially pay $750 invoice from Stony Brook Fire and Safety for F500 firefighting foam. The remainder to come from Fund 101-422-00219. Donation occurred in 2015.
I'll make the motion to approve the request.
Second?
Motion been made and seconded to approve the use of $500 funds donated from City of Cold Spring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. That it for Fire Department? I think? Yep, okay. Planning Commission, Bill.
Mayor, council members, we have two agenda items on tonight. The first one is an application by Edward Zapp for a CUP, conditional use permit. The address is 22807 Roush Lake Road. I'm pretty sure everybody knows where that is, right over here. Property is zoned to Ag 40. It's approximately 55.84 acres. It was a public hearing. One person spoke for, none against. We did not receive any in writing either for or against. There are no neighbors within 150 feet of the structure. Obviously, and they're only going to use this during the warm season. We need to discuss probably the time restrictions. They probably would need a caterer's permit. Setback from neighboring property, residential structures and right roadway are in compliance. There are no existing event centers within 1 mile of this property. Planning Commission recommends approval for the CUP.
Okay.
I would make a motion to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation.
I'll second that motion, and I'd like to have some discussion.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Go ahead with discussion.
Yeah, Bill, was there any conditions that the group is, your commission or your planning and zoning is advancing for us to deliberate?
Beside the time restriction caterers permit, no.
Okay.
And the reason I asked that, I remember we had enormous event center that was attempted, and I think it's functional, the Mike Nisler project out on County Road 2, and there was a lot of parking and all of those type of things. And so I remember there was a building inspector. So was there a building official? And I see Ed in the room and did a phenomenal job, and I want to make it publicly clear that I think it's a great thing to have. But we're also concerned about fire and life safety, and I don't know about the other council members or something like that. So when the railings and those type of things went on the barn, the house was inspected, as I understand it, but the barn, if that had a certificate of occupancy from the building official, I think that's the root question that I have. Or is that exempt? You know, if it's state agricultural, obviously it would be exempt and they wouldn't need to have a CO. But because it's going into a planned unit development and getting a conditional use permit, and it's getting the blessing of the city.
Well, unless I'm wrong, and I could be, but all we discussed was a CUP, not any restrictions or building code, which I'm assuming comes afterwards.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but all we did is talk about the CUP.
So this would be the first step if we were going to go forward.
Yeah, we make a decision, it's a zoning land use, use compatibility question here, but certainly if there's, if the council's unsure that the building is going to be up to compliance for the use, I mean, we certainly can put that in there and make sure that we do have the blessing of the building inspector before he does.
Implement it.
Put it to the use, whatever use he wants. I mean, that's, like somebody said, it's a seasonal use, and the extent that he's going to use that building, whether it's, you know, bathrooms inside, bathrooms outside, upper floor, lower floor, whatever, I think he has to work that out with the building official, and then building official come back to us and tell us how he's allowed to use that, and then those will be his restrictions, I guess.
So, sorry, go ahead.
But also, I think this building's a little different than Mr. Nisler's, because Mr. Nisler had part of it, was a two-story barn building. He had to go upstairs and it was stepping. And I didn't get out to see what Mr. Zapp had. I think it's built in head. I think he's got like a two-level, a lower level entry and a top level. He might have stairs, but there's there's a little difference for egress and ingress on that, so, and there's plenty of room there. Well, there was a little more with space limitations for Mr. Nisler. So I think, if Mr. Zapp would repeat, I'm all in favor of it too there, but I think we got to watch how much limitations we put on it there too.
Oh,
I'm going to try and get out on it, look at it too, but there's a little difference between what he's got, a building size, versus what Mr. Nisler did out there, so.
And as I heard Bill correctly, it's seasonal, and
Yes.
if that's the case, so it should be a lot easier. So would there be contingent, would be a public, a conditional use permit, Sue, with conditions that may be needed to added if it, or just compliant with building code or something like that? Could we add that to that condition, or is that cumbersome?
I would just, I think what I'm hearing is if it's an agricultural building, we're talking about animals being in it. If we're talking about event center, we're talking about humans being in it.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between there, and if the building needs to be inspected differently for humans being in there than animals, I think we should.
Animals in Rockville
that.
are agricultural is exempt from building inspections.
Right.
Residential
So
is obviously
If it's
not.
going to be used by people going in and
Well,
out, then we should probably have it at least inspected.
Yeah, the fire and life and health and safety aspect of it.
So I guess one of the two of you are willing to amend your
Sure.
motion, something to the effect that we get a report back from the building inspector that whatever his requirements are for the building, for the use that Ed wants to put it to, have been made, something to that effect?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, and I'll second that as a friendly. Yep.
Okay, so a motion been made second to approve the conditional use permit, condition upon receiving a verification from the building inspector that the requirements for the use that Mr. Zapp wants to put the building have been met.
I think we should get as much information to building inspector, to Mr. Zapp, that he would need in regards to how he wants to use it, what he's going to use it for, so we're not enforcing something on him that not necessarily has to be done on the building.
I agree.
Because I think, like, it's seasonal, you're not going to be
Right.
out there like last week and you wouldn't have had a party or something out there when this
No,
goes. So, I
it's
mean, I
gonna be in
think,
the summertime, it's
get the
nice out.
information that he needs, so, I mean, meet the code to the basic low limits of it, is the way I look at it, because we're just utilizing it that way. That's the way I feel about that one.
Yep. Okay, motion been made second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Thanks,
Thank
Ed.
you. Second one on the agenda is the Thomas and Joseph Molitor and Donald and Dolores Molitor Trust. Property doesn't actually have an address. It's on County Road 47 here out in St. Cloud. It's right up here off of 23. And the request is to rezone from an Ag 40 to a B2, which is a business, general business district here in Rockville. Public hearing was held. I'm not exactly sure, but I think there was 4 people that came up and spoke for, none against. And what they would like to do is to rezone that to eventually allow for a truck headquarters to be built. It's approximately 19.5 acres. 10 notices of public hearing were sent out. Again, this property is zoned currently Ag 40. Our future land use map shows a commercial in that area. Currently, it is farmed. Planning Commission vote to approve and recommend approval to you folks for this.
So we're just doing the rezoning right now?
Yes.
They have to bring a site plan?
Just the rezone.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I move to approve the recommendations of the Planning Commission to rezone and go from there.
I'll second.
Motion been made second to rezone.
One quick question for clarification, and that is, it looks like 14.32, which would be on the core city side, and then the 5.18 acres of land that would be on the opposite side of the core city of 23. So as I understand it, it's to rezone the entire parcel number 764141614, which is before 23 came through, that was one contiguous.
piece,
Okay, so it's both parcels.
Yep.
or both entities one ID. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, motion been made and second to approve the rezoning of the Molitor property. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Unfinished new business, conduct examination of accounts when official resigns. Where do we stand there, Judy?
I think you guys had me go to the auditors, and you basically, I think I have that email in there for you guys. You just said, as I discussed it, basically you left it up to Adam for legal opinion, and I think Sue read what Adam's recommendation was the last time at the council meeting. So it's up to you guys if you want to
Go any further?
go any
Lisa?
further as in.
Do we have that legal opinion? Maybe you want, if it's short, can we read that again?
It was, I did see it was in the minutes, actually.
Okay.
I can find it quick, I think. Okay, here's what it said. It said, this was the requirement to examine accounts. So the clerk position is subject to this requirement, assuming a fidelity bond was required of RENA under Minnesota statute 412.111 or 412.151. The review is not required to be a full-blown audit, although I suppose the council could order that if it wishes. The state auditor's office suggests the review may be done internally or externally. My assumption is that staff resources are currently stretched too thin to perform an internal review, and it appears that a faction of the council would not be satisfied with an internal review. The council did not take any action at the last council meeting with respect to this item. It should define the scope of the review it wants done and decide who should do it. My suggestion would be to have KDV undertake a quick review of funds going back only as far as the last audit.
That first provision where it said we had a fidelity bond,
I don't think we know, I don't think we were able to determine that a bond was ever done.
so if we assume that one was not ever done, does that mean an audit would not be required, or is that, am I not interpreting that right?
I can't answer that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and that is sort of what it sounds like, right?
Yeah,
Well, because I think the related part, Jeff, is saying if you don't do it in a timely way and there was a bond, then the bond isn't effective. I mean, that's where that's related. So
Okay.
I don't think I think as we looked and tried to determine, I don't think anybody has knowledge that there was a bond
yeah.
done for RENA. So that requirement really isn't,
So,
so it has nothing to do with whether, if there was something that happened, you could put a claim on the bond. It's sort of, that part's irrelevant.
yeah, yeah.
So I just think the question is, do we want,
Yeah, because what you're saying is, the fact that we haven't taken a bond out, if we do find anything, we can't look towards the bond to do anything about it. Anyway. So,
and so I think at one of the meetings, our conversation was, we are, Judy's in the process of closing your end. We're going to have an audit anyway, and so I think the question was, do you have some kind of review that we're paying money for and we're going to still pay for an audit? So,
well, I guess I would make a motion that we take no further extra audit or review at this time and just wait for the year-end audit from KDV.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been made and second. Further discussion? Anyone? All in favor, say aye.
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 I'd say nay. I think we should do it, but it's,
Let's do a roll call. It starts with Sue on a vote of Not doing anything
doing-
further other than the annual audit?
Yep, aye.
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 Nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 3-2. Okay, the next item is annual appointments. Annual appointments, that's planning commission and,
Here, no, this,
Up the very last page of tab 6.
last page, the last 6. Keep going.
On number 6.
This one, right there.
okay. I'll read them off. We have 10 of them. This is 2016 annual appointments. Engineering firm, SEH, official newspaper, Cold Spring Record, official depository, Granite Community Bank, Plaza Park Bank, Morgan Stanley, Smith Barney, Bremer Bank, and 4M Fund. Acting Mayor Sue Palmer, Auditor/Accountant KDV, Attorney Rick Noonan, Weed Inspector Mayor Jeff Hagan, Assistant Weed Inspector Nick Waldbillig, County Agricultural Inspector Bob Dunning, Process Server Stearns County Sheriff's Department.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the annual appointments as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and second to approve the 2016 annual appointments. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes.
Do the committee assignments stay the same? They're not,
We're going to postpone doing anything with the committee assignments till we have our new city administrator on staff. So we want to review some of the responsibilities there and
Yeah.
see if we can tag the city
sense.
administrator with some more. So, of course. Committee reports, Mayor, I don't have anything. Quarry Trail, Dwayne got anything?
Nothing.
Finance, Sue, Rick?
We do not.
Okay. Administrators correspondence, Judy acting. Open forum. Oh, we got a, oh, sorry, addition to agenda. Rockfest, that's just approving insurance? Oh, we got somebody, okay. Nick,
Yeah, Nick Phil with the Rockfest Committee. Just looking to see, once again this year, if you guys are able to help with the insurance for the day of. And then it's June 4th this year. And we will be having a parade and a street dance again, so closure in the afternoon, road closure in the afternoon. I already have talked to Lieutenant Lentz on his end. So that's basically all we're asking for.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Oh, and they're, okay, and fireworks. That'll be in there too, I guess.
okay.
And the request is for us to cover the insurance.
Cover
with
the insurance.
Sure. I'll second Sue's motion.
Okay, motion been made and second to approve the list of requests for the Rockfest. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Hey,
Nick.
Jeff?
Yep.
before you move off the committee reports, I didn't see anything on Public Works, but I just wanted to give an update that Public Works, I had done 2 brief ride-alongs with Nick. One was back in November or December. I didn't write down the date, but just kind of seeing the daily routine as far as going through the water meter checks and everything, and there was a problem with the grinder down here in town. But one of the things, the other one, he had sent us out about the repairs to the lift stations, the grinder stations, and the one that was in Pleasant Prairie, or Pleasant
Lake, yeah.
Pleasant Lake. And that one that got repaired, he had sent us out that it got done, and if anybody wanted to see it, and I said, well, yeah, it's right down the road from me, I'd like to see that. So we went over there and I inspected it with them, and it seems like where they put the hole in for the line coming into the tank kind of cracked all the way around from that stress point. And they did have most of it sealed up, it was leaking in a little bit. So then I was kind of questioning, how did we find out that that was even leaking? Well, the grinder quit while it was probably running nonstop. So Ralph Wells, is it, that replaces them?
Yeah.
He said that Ralph had come out and put a new pump in, and he thought the pump must be bad because it's not going down. So he went and got another pump and put that in and then realized, oh, it wasn't bad. It's just coming in so fast that that's when they found out where the leak was. But anyway, in doing all this, I questioned Nick. I said, how many of these are leaking? Do we know? Because really, if it's running, it's like a sump pump out in your yard running. We have no idea if it's running. So I think we may have a big issue with all these grinder stations that we're really not aware of. I think it's something that we should consider in the warmer weather to maybe do some spot inspections just in different areas to see if there is a problem with more of these leaking.
I think that's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
But that would be a Public Works Committee endeavor and run time or something to be able to calibrate that, how many gallons are being pumped versus.
Or if staff isn't able to do it, maybe sub it out, get, somebody to spot check, pick some different random ones to just go and check.
Yeah, I've talked to Nick, regards like Public Works, we're gonna have one, I think, next month when our administrator's on, because he's got a couple of items bringing on. He mentioned to me what you just said about that grinder station, that you're gonna try it. The guy was gonna come back and do some more, I think, try and get a little bit more, but I haven't talked to him since then.
Yeah, it's probably not the ideal time to do that.
No. But he also said he's also looking today, they were working on making some for pumps on our lift stations too, how we get all this grease and a way that they can get an agitator or something down our pump so we can stir it up. They're gonna make so they can stir everything up so we don't have to buy all these chemicals for cleaning. That might be something too we can use to help clean them, grinder stations out too. But for the lift station, they were working on one of them. I think maybe Gene had an idea of something that we can agitate up there without having to put the chemicals in it periodically. Maybe they have to take, we got that big tank of water and something that he can stir it up, they pump it down, it pumps everything out then, so. But no, we're gonna have a meeting next month, once the administrator will discuss these and some other items.
Okay.
Okay?
Otherwise, I was going to suggest maybe just to have Judy, put the idea in Nick's head to start thinking about how he would do a random spot check of this. I don't know if being that he's been in a couple, damaged ones,
Yep.
maybe there's a way of pressure testing these things somehow, or, some kind of flow meter or.
And we
electric
can also go
system.
back up to Green Lake. They have grinder station on the lake up there in that system. If you wanted to talk, and maybe they did a little where he was originally from, but that's one area I know they have grinder stations.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
a search method.
The other thought I had that just, I thought if we have our newsletter go out and inform homeowners that if you have a grinder station and you know that you haven't run any water in the house for, an hour, at least a half hour, if they go out by their grinder station, you can hear if there would be water running into it. At, kind of not having anybody go out doing it, that way. Somebody say, oh yeah, I could hear water running pretty steady.
Yeah,
Yeah. Check out a stethoscope in
and
City
that's an
Hall.
really an easy suggestion.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you just
Well,
need to have everybody read their newsletter. No.
Yeah.
Good one, good point.
Okay. All right. Where are we at? Open forum? Nobody wanted to talk, huh? Okay, I think we're
We're done?
ready to adjourn.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
Motion been made second, adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes.